open your eyes and enter the world of science, curiosity, answers. Welcome to Why Is. Why is the coronavirus spreading so fast? Why is the world so terrified about the news? Why is the whole world under threat? And why is it that many people did not get the clue about a virus from our last video? If you've not seen that, make sure to check out our hint from our previous video. Because if you did not know, let me break it to you. Viruses are in fact not considered living things by the majority of the scientists. They're actually just a package of different molecules. If you did not already know that, let us know in the comments below, so we can make a video to let you know why is a virus not a living organism. Getting back to the problem at hand, the coronavirus. Why is the world so afraid of the coronavirus? And why is it spreading so fast? Feelings are by nature complicated to translate into phrases, and it is incredibly difficult to adequately explain the fear that is now overwhelming the globe. Even it wouldn't be enough saying that people are only terrified of a novel coronavirus storming across the globe. Terrified isn't deep or complex enough to describe the kind of terror that so many people tend to have. There are indications of warning everywhere, both big and tiny. You can see them in the expressions of the metro passengers as someone coughs, or in the head of an Uber driver staring over her face mask in the rearview mirror. And you can see them in the huge, violent, and self-destructive reactions that certain cultures have reacted to. From the outset, 116,145 individuals who developed COVID-19, the illness triggered by the infection, and 4,090 of them have died. Worse, in the West, outbreaks are now rising, which implies that the maximum impact of the pandemic is yet to be felt. Nevertheless, the governments of China, United States, Iran, and Italy have all failed to react, some of them lying about the epidemic and treating the informants. The three divisions of the WHO, China Country Office, Western Pacific Regional Office, and Headquarters have been operating together since the 2nd of January 2020 to react to this outbreak of COVID-19. The epidemic was proclaimed a public health emergency of international significance, PHEIC, by the WHO on 30th of January. On March 11, the WHO Director General described COVID-19 as an epidemic. Why is the whole world under threat? Only a week ago, on February 29th, another confirmed coronavirus death occurred in the United States. The quickly growing epidemic has already consumed 22 people and has infected 30 states and the District of Columbia, and is transforming into a health disaster. Federal health authorities confirmed the first outbreak of coronavirus in the US on the 20th of January. The individual was in Washington state and had only arrived from Wuhan, China 5 days before the epidemic began. The greatest coronavirus epidemic beyond mainland China at the time was a cruise swimming in Japanese seas. A minimum of further than 700 passengers had coronavirus on the Diamond Princess cruise ship. More than 3,600 passengers, comprising 428 Americans, were stranded on a cruise liner that was moored in Yokohama since February 4th. A coronavirus-infected woman in Washington state expired on February 29th, representing the first fatality of the infection in the United States. The man in his 50s had chronic health problems, and there was no indication that he had direct communication with an infectious individual or a background of travel that may have subjected him to the virus. So coming to the real question, why is coronavirus spreading so fast? The coronavirus, identified as COVID-19, travels from person to person in near contact, comparable to many infectious illnesses, including influenza. Droplets of bodily fluids, like saliva or mucus from the infected individual, are spread through the air or on the floor through coughing and sneezing. These droplets, they come into close proximity with other humans, or they may harm anyone who takes them home by contacting the contaminated surfaces and then their faces. As per science, coughs and sneezes fly a few miles and remain in the air for up to 10 minutes. It's still not clear how long the virus can live outside of the host, although in many viruses, they will continue to live without a host from a few hours to weeks. Transmission is of special significance for transport, where coronavirus containing droplets that move among passengers or via surfaces such as airplane seats and armrests. The coronavirus incubation duration. The amount of time before signs occur is between 1 and 14 days. While not yet proven, Chinese health officials suspect that the virus may be spread until symptoms occur. As per Gerard Krause, head of the Department of Epidemiology at the Helmholtz Infection Center, that will have significant consequences for prevention steps. It is rare for respiratory illnesses to be spread well when the first signs have arisen, Al Jazeera said. But the implications are because, once anything occurs, they have no way of public safety to root out or classify those at risk of infection, since they don't really realize they're already sick. Can people be immune to the new coronavirus? Viruses that propagate rapidly typically have lower death rates and vice versa. Because the virus is a relatively new type, it is suspected that there is little protection in those it may find. Any tolerance can gradually improve with time, although that ensures that people with weakened immune systems, such as the aged or the young, are more at risk of being seriously ill or dying from coronavirus. While the overall number of fatalities has already surpassed those documented during most of the 2002 to 2003 epidemic of the extreme acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, the actual mortality rate is lower than that of SARS. Why is face mask useful in this scenario? When we talk about self-protection and virus containing, experts conclude that it is necessary to wash your hands regularly and properly with soap. Cover your mouth with tissues or forearm if coughing and sneezing. See your doctor when you have symptoms, and prevent close interaction with other people in infected regions. Although facial masks are common, researchers question their efficacy toward airborne viruses. Masks can offer some security for you and everyone else, but since they are loose and constructed of permeable material, droplets may often move through. Most nations have recommended citizens traveling back from China or affected areas to self-quarantine for a minimum of 2 weeks, as being the best way to prevent the spread of infection. Why is coronavirus an issue of global security? The epidemic of coronavirus has expanded to more than 80 nations, all introducing its own disease control steps. The purpose is to protect COVID-19 from being endogenous in their communities. Yet it's a battle against time, so there's no one-size-fits-all answer. The percentage of the goal in terms of financial action is to maintain frontline nutrition-related expenditures to secure people's well-being, provide for the ill, and stop the spread of the disease. We cannot stress more about the immediate need to speed up well-being related initiatives, with the need to ensure the availability of health products in such a manner that output is at the same time as demand. Second, macro-financial scheme measures could be needed to resolve the equilibrium shocks. The goal will not be to regret acts that minimize and limit the economic consequences. We will be prompt and tailored to the markets, companies, and households that are hardest affected. A widespread loss of production through morale and spillover channels, such as trade and travel, oil markets, and tightening financial situation, would call for appropriate policy responses to boost demand and maintain sufficient availability of credit. Second, sufficient liquidity would also be required to mitigate the uncertainties of financial stability. The world is at war with itself, trying to free from the outbreak of this disease and trying to save lives. Why is coronavirus spreading? It's because of the human contact and everything associated. The question arises, why is the human contact a reason for the spread? Are we humans the reason for others' death? Tell us other interesting facts that you think we missed out on. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. Until next time, bye!